Hey, here is something I hear all the time. It's that when a lead is considered expensive, the problem is usually with the lead. But 9 times out of 10, the problem actually isn't the lead, it's the system surrounding the lead. Hey there. My name's Emmanuel, and I am the founder and kind of chief talking head guy of this cool little part of the internet. I also run a cool little consulting agency that's specifically designed to help service providers grow and scale their business using systems. So if you're a top producing real estate agent, if you're a fractional CFO, if you're an accounting firm, if you're in home services, or maybe in the medical industry, you have a med spa, this video is specifically for you. Now, I see this happen all the time. It's that when lead flow is really, really low, founders and founders teams, they get really, really careful. And when this happens, they slow down, they overthink, they overanalyze, they take way too long to respond to a text message or an email from a potential lead or prospect. And because of this really careful behavior, what ends up happening is concessions are made. I mean, let's be real here. Like, how many times have you potentially discounted your services because you're actually scared you're going to lose this prospect because you didn't know when the next prospect was going to be coming in? Let that one sink in. But I digress. You see, at the end of the day, the problem isn't the leads are bad. The reality is the system that's built around the leads is just so fragile that because you don't have a really great inflow of leads coming in and you don't have that many opportunities or that many at-bats, every lead seems like it's going to be the last one, and you end up making concessions or commoditizing your service just to be able to try to acquire that lead. Okay, so quick side story. Now, there's this guy I've been working with for a while now. His name's Wayne, owns and operates this really great IT company, and they were really struggling in terms of client acquisition. So every single time they would get a referral or an opportunity or an at-bat to try to pitch someone, they would, send a bid and they would wait. And if they didn't get a response, they would immediately start discounting their services. And over time, it's either that they discounted it so much that the business ended up hurting because they weren't actually able to charge their true rate, or they would just lose the business. And as you can imagine, their revenue was very ebbs and flows. It was very up and down. One month, they just landed one big contract to do an installation of, some Baskin Robbins or a hospital, and then another month it's just completely dead. Now, when we started talking, the first thing that they were asking about was like, how can we convert the leads that we have more efficiently? Only to come to find out that the leads that they had were like 1 or 2 a month. Yeah, that's not really going to cut it. And the reality is we needed to fix the lead gen funnel, the top of funnel, before we ever start thinking about how we can fix that middle of funnel, that nurture piece, because 2 at-bats a month, you strike out on both, you're kind of SOL. So let me break down how we did it. Check this out. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about the funnel, the conversion system. So right now we have complete strangers, aka leads. Oops, let me use a different color. Let's use blue. Leads on one end, and then on the complete opposite end, we have clients. Now, there are stages to being able to convert complete strangers or leads into clients. And those stages are, and let me map them out here. First stage, second stage, third stage. That's where we generate the contact, then we qualify the contact, and then we schedule the appointment to actually sell the contact. Actually, you know what? Let me use a different term instead of appointment. Let's call it sell, where we sell the contact, aka our prospect, aka our lead. Now, having said that, there are really 2 realities that we're playing with. Well, the first one was Wayne's reality, aka maybe your current reality. Now, in your current reality, let's start off with the lead issue, something that you're currently experiencing. Right now, it's potentially low volume. And because it's low volume, the other complete opposite end of that is that you're probably paying a high amount for those leads. So high CPL, high cost per lead. And because of the low volume and the high cost to acquire that lead, every lead is inevitably high pressure. And from there, we have to take that lead and then move them into the next step, where we now start overthinking this whole process because we don't want to mess up the lead. We don't want to drop the ball. And the inevitable fact of overthinking is that we delay the follow-up. And in addition to that, when we finally think about and the process of following up, we're very, very careful in how we handle it. Moving into the next stage, the qualify. Now, because of this scarcity, what ends up happening is we end up overqualifying, or in some case, underqualifying. So let me put a slash here, under, because we're just desperate to try to bring in some new business. There's hesitation. Should I be offering or pitching my rate at this much because I might not be able to land this client, or should I pitch my rate at this much even though I'm going to be barely making any money? In any case, there's no clear criteria for how to properly qualify. So no clear criteria. I'm just going to put, I'll abbreviate criteria. You get it. Which then leads us to the final step, the sell. Because we have no clear criteria, because we're kind of pitching and swinging at bats effectively blindly, we end up getting a low show rate or low interest rate of a prospect that we've potentially proposed on working with. And that low show rate also leads to a very weak performance in terms of your sales. You experience a bunch of feast and famine months because you just don't have as many at bats. And when you do have an at bat, you end up missing and you end up striking out. By the way, I'm really sorry about all the baseball analogies. That's really just what's coming top of mind right now. But because of the low show rate and your inability to actually hit the ball, much less swing at the ball frequently enough to be able to close a sale or hit that home run, two things inevitably end up happening. Number one is inconsistency. And number two is it's very hard to forecast what your projections are for the next year. And at the end of the day, that is a very, very uneasy feeling. Security comes from control. And if you can't control your inevitable ability to understand how much revenue you're supposed to make for the year, it increases or it spikes anxiety. And that's a place where we do not want to live in. This is a very feast or famine, scarcity over urgency kind of world that we're potentially living in. Having said that, let me take you to the new reality, Wayne's new reality, and hopefully your new reality after watching this video, where we have a more designed reality. Now, in this new reality, we focus more on more leads, because when we have more leads, we have less pressure. And the way that we approached this specific problem is that we ran advertising. Like at the end of the day, that's the bottom line. If you need immediate leads fast and you want to convert as quickly as possible, sometimes advertising is your best route. Not trying to go on social media, not trying to post videos every single day, because you still have to figure out what your audience wants and how to create and craft really great hooks, how to make a good minute or 15-second video really, really entertaining, then how to chat with those people. It's very, very cumbersome. There's a lot of steps. Sometimes just running paid ads is the easier way to go. And when you run paid ads, you get more leads and a lot less pressure on you, which moves us to the next step, contacting the leads. We need to focus on two main metrics. The first one is speed to lead, which is how quickly can I reach out to this lead that has just entered into my world. One of the easy ways that we did that was through automations. We set up a very simple Zapier to send out a text message. And in that text message, we would ask a question, try to get a response as quickly as possible, because we know that if we can get a conversation going, that conversation will eventually and inevitably lead to hopefully an appointment to book a sales call, or to qualify and then book a sales call and then close. And the other step, and this one's really important too, we outbound the inbound leads. Now, I can't stress this enough. I have talked to so many founders that are just petrified of calling leads. In this particular case, these are all leads that have that are inbound. They've all said, hey, I might be interested in working with you, yet they're petrified in calling them. And if they call them, it's always very finicky. It's maybe like once. When in reality, we need a system. We need to create a frequency of calling so that we can try to position ourselves at the most opportune time to actually have them pick up the phone. And the way that we do that is that we don't call more, just once. We call like up to 10 times, different days, different times. But the point here is that we have to outbound dial the leads. That increases the probability of us creating an appointment, in this case for Wayne, and inevitably being able or having him able to qualify them, which moves us to the next column, which is qualify. One of the main reasons that most founders struggle with inconsistency is that they're taking on any type of client, and when it could be any type of client, it's a custom project every single time, and trying to scale custom contracts or custom projects is very, very difficult. So one of the easy ways to help create more predictability, more forecasting, more scale, well, it's simple. It's to have clear criteria. Define what a good client is versus a bad client. And when we have that definition, then we can fast sort the different types of leads and prospects that we're talking to. And we'll know very quickly who is qualified, who is actually going to make, who it actually makes sense to work with, and who can actually afford our rate, which inevitably moves us into the last stage, the sell stage. And because we've done a good job of fast sorting and having clear criteria of the prospect that we're potentially talking to, it makes it very easy to pre-frame our solution because it's something repeatable. It's a prospect that is suffering from a very specific problem that we know that we can solve. And if that's the case, we can create different little injections of or touch points within our process between this qualification and this actual sales call, where we can pre-frame ourselves as the authority and then help them understand that, yeah, we can actually fix their problems. And in addition to that, one of the biggest problems that, the current reality of Wayne, that he was facing was no-shows. So one of the things that we need to focus on is that we have to create confirmations. And to help you understand this, let me use an analogy real quick. It's the analogy of juggling balls in the air. Now, from the point of view talking to a prospect to the point of view actually pitching a prospect, it could sometimes take days or if not weeks to get from point A to point B. Now, if you book a call with a potential prospect where they say, hey, yeah, I want to understand what you do, I want to get sold to, and they're not available, like if you book it on a Monday and they're not available until Friday, you have essentially 4 days of just radio silence. And if you're thinking about juggling balls in the air, what you're essentially doing is instead of keeping that ball up in the air, it ends up falling. And if it falls, all the excitement is lost. There's not really a purpose or a reason for that prospect to show up to that call on a Friday. But if we keep that ball up in the air, the ball being keeping the prospect excited, guess what? It increases the probability of them actually showing up to the call. And more importantly, actually you closing on them on the call. So if we have, the way that we keep this ball up in the air is real simple. We just have to set up pre-made confirmations that drip throughout the week, and through that process, you'll find that it actually increases the probability of said prospect showing up to said sales call. Or another way to put it is we just need to remind them. If we set up reminders, hey, guess what? It increases the probability of show-up rates. And when we do all this, a couple really, really magical things happen, or this happened in Wayne's world. No pun intended. We now have a process that is both one, predictable, and two, forecastable. Is that even a word? I'm pretty sure that's a word. I hope that's a word. Put it in the comments if that's a word. Anyway, we now have a process that's both predictable and forecastable. All right, I want to pause for a minute and ask you for a very quick favor. If you found any value thus far in this video, really appreciate it if you hit that like button, the subscribe button, the bell icon, all that fun stuff. Really just helps out the channel. Anyways, back to the video. Okay, so to quickly recap, your current reality, potentially, which was Rain's reality, low volume in terms of leads. So we're not trying to fix a conversion problem. We're trying to increase the volume problem so that we can have more at-bats, more opportunities. We want to go from a place where there's no follow-up or delayed follow-up, or you're just very, very hesitant, to a place where it speeds a lead and we're now outbound dialing all of our leads. It ends up increasing probability of creating more sales, booking more appointments. We want to go from a place where we're either over or under qualifying and we're hesitating on, who is actually the right client. So we end up potentially trying to pitch everyone to a place where there's clear criteria. We can quickly sort out who's the right client and who's the wrong client because, hey, guess what? We have more volume. And then lastly, when we're talking about selling, we're not dealing with low show-up rates or, you pitching custom work or commoditized work, but instead we're pre-framing. So we're getting them excited. We're creating confirmations. We're juggling balls in the air to keep them excited. And we're sending reminders to make sure that they show up so that they know that we actually know what we're doing. And it's a very clean and simple and sequential process to, actually having a conversation, getting the sale, getting the close. And because of that, we end up with a lot more predictability and a lot more forecastability. So the bottom line here is that if a lead feels expensive to you, the reality is it is not a problem with the lead. It is a problem with the ecosystem surrounding the lead. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video here, then I highly recommend you check out this video right here.